What's going on, guys? Christian here from CK Wraps. So today I'm going to show you all of the mistakes and all of the flaws and all of the crap that's happening to my chrome wrap on my Jeep because, hey, I want y'all to know that I'm not perfect. And nor should you be trying to make everything perfect all the time. You spend a lot of time making things perfect. Lesson here is you're going to be wasting a lot of time. There is no such thing as perfect. Rolls-Royce doesn't make a perfect car. Pagani doesn't make a perfect car. There aren't perfect airplanes, otherwise they wouldn't fall out of the sky. You know, nothing in this world is perfect. So to strive for perfection is good, but you have to know when to call it quits, okay? Now this is my own personal vehicle, so we're gonna take some things with a grain of salt here. It's not the end of the world. I know that I change the color very frequently. I've had this wrap on here, this is Hexas Titanium Chrome on for about 6 months. I do beat this up a lot. It gets driven a lot. You know, I've had almost 25,000 kilometers on this car in 6 months, which is about like 18,000 miles in 6 months. So it gets driven a lot, gets taken off-roading, it gets beat up a lot. Now, we're going to take you through a full tour of what this wrap looks like, the ins and the outs. I'm going to show you some of the areas where material's failing, what reasons why I think it's failing. Some of them I don't know why it's failing. Other reasons I can tell you exactly why it's failing. Some of them are just deliberate, caused by me, not necessarily deliberate. Could have done a little bit better on my own part, but I'm going to explain and show you through the entire process here, okay? Guys, don't forget to check out my website, ckwraps.com. If you're looking for techniques on how to avoid some of the crap that I did on my own vehicle, because I don't do this on customers' cars, go to ckwraps.com. I'll put a link in the top corner and the description below for you. I have videos. I can answer your questions for you. We have an open discussion board. We have a location board, that sort of thing. You know, techniques are very important when it comes to installation, and I do have up close personal videos there for you guys to actually see those in detail. Again, link in the top corner and the description below for you. So let's go for a grand tour of the actual wrap itself and see how bad I wrap my own truck. We're gonna start off with the front end and work our way around basically. So we're gonna start off with this front fender here. Now these fenders are textured plastic, so they're not really meant to be wrapped. This fender is this textured plastic right here all the way through. So I didn't even wrap in here because I couldn't stretch the vinyl into there. I could have put an inlay, but whatever, it's black, I didn't really care. You can't see it. Simply what I would probably tell a customer is like, maybe we can't do this area or whatever. I wouldn't really want to wrap this on a customer's car, textured plastic, especially in chrome, knowing that it may not last. You know, if they did want it, you know, I'd let them know about the consequences and things involved that could happen, but you know, typically we want to steer people away from making a decision of going for it because it'll look bad on you in the end if they happen to show their car off at places. They're taking it to the mall or the grocery store or whatever, driving down to and from work, doesn't really matter. No one's going to see these kinds of things. Right under here, you can see that the film has a lot of dirt underneath it. So you can see this piece is moving. I don't even know how it's actually staying down right now because it's very loose, okay? It doesn't stick well to the textured plastic. It lifted, dirt got in it, probably when I was taking it off-roading. Who the heck knows what happened. So that happened there. Right here, we have a seam, just to show you, because we cannot stretch the film, this chrome particularly. If it was another film, I could have done it, or regular finish. But I cannot stretch this film across this fender here without using a seam because it will haze it out like a lot, and it's gonna look even worse. So having a seam there is ideal. We're using a body line. Again, I freehand cut these because I don't care. It's my own car, and it's textured plastic, it's not paint. So I didn't have to worry about scratching the paint. It's just textured plastic underneath. I'm not all that worried about it. I actually have a backup set of fenders at home. All right, let's move into the front end. There's a seam also down here as well. Let's move into the front end. So the front end has a lot of inlays, a ton of inlays. Each one of these grills has 4 pieces, okay? There's 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the bottom, okay? Each one. So there's a high chance for failure in this area because of the pieces being so skinny. But the film didn't actually lift. What happened here, and I actually have no idea why, is the film delaminated, okay? The film delaminated right here. And maybe when I pressure washed it, I'm really not sure what happened. It delaminated right there and right there. Now you can see, if you look really closely, you can see a bit of red in there. It's lifting up slightly right there and slightly right there. Teeny tiny bits. I see a little bit of red right there. Just notice that. Just get you right in there. With the angle that I have to get in there to show you, okay? I also cheated. I left this inlay in here, satin black. I didn't want to rewrap it in chrome because I just leave it black. I'll leave it black every single time I wrap the Jeep. Some areas I just left black because it's easier every time I do a color change. This truck is red underneath, okay? So to rewrap the whole thing red or rewrap all the red over and over again is a lot of work. So I just left that there. Down here, I've got a bubble. You can see it. So this this outer edge right here is done in a whole separate piece all the way across, and then we did the main piece on the top afterwards. But again, it wasn't laid into the recess enough, you can see right here. So the gap was bridged a little too much, and it lifted. Not the end of the world. It's on my own car. Right here, I was taking my Jeep off-roading. I didn't have any extra material. I damaged this wrap on the fender, on this particular fender, a lot. It looked terrible, it looked worse than this. This seam is a big no-no, okay? You don't do this, especially on a customer's car. You wanna do this on your own car? Fine. You do not wanna do this on a customer's car, okay? That's a big no-no. So I'm showing you guys what I'm doing on my own car. It's patchwork, okay? This is sloppy, it's not good. You know, again, I didn't have any chrome. I wanted it fixed. This is what we got. And I'm too lazy to order more because I'm just gonna change the color of the wrap anyways. Not a big deal. Let's move on. Again, same thing. I have a seam right here. You can actually see I didn't do a really nice job right there. You can see some of the black through it. Again, it's just black underneath. I can accept it. Nobody can really see that unless you look really close. Now, I do use the truck for promotional purposes, of course, but you know, for the most part, driving it around, most people don't notice the really small things. They just notice how vibrant the wrap is, really. Right here on both sides, this is happening. It's lifting because I wrapped this piece actually underneath is still satin black. I left it satin black. I did not rewrap it. I did not peel it off and wrap over the red paint. It is satin black. If you want to look underneath, it's satin black. Okay, there's no red there. So the energy level, obviously, with the film being over top of a satin finish is not as high as it would be over a gloss finish. On top of that, you can see some overstretching right there. You can see some of the tiger stripes. Oh yeah, and over here, there's some overstretching too. You can see some of the tiger stripes on the inside. If I can get the camera angle on it, you can see a hell of a lot of swirl marks right there. See the tiger stripes? That's some overstretching, okay? That's a bit of hazing. That's what that is. I did not wrap on the very inside right here as it's just black, so I just left it. You want to check out some corners here. They're still holding up pretty nicely. If you really want to get into it, let's look at this, okay? I didn't even trim these out actually. I just put the screw, I pushed the screw through the hole and screwed the screw down. That was all I did. I didn't even do an inlay in there or nothing. I just did it like that. Again, my own personal car, I'm okay with it. You know, I'm not taking it to car shows, but I do use it for promotional stuff, which most people do not see. If they see it, they see it. You know, for me, I drive it around as an entire whole advertising. It's not just the small piece there, you know. Do I suggest not doing stuff like this on your own vehicle? Yes. What you need to do is you just need to trim this out and do little inlays in all these areas, even on the other side. The other side's happening too, okay? In here, we've got a little bit of bubbling. See if I can get it there. In here. So this could be caused by adhesive separation. Maybe I didn't clean the surface properly or I didn't post heat enough. If we look at all the swirl marks, yes, it has a ton. But from like back here, you don't even see them anymore. I'm only like 2-3 feet back, guys. Not really far. Around the window, it's done in 4 pieces. This makes wrapping the window in chrome way easier, okay? It's super hard window to wrap in chrome, especially when you get around this compound curve at the top and the bottom here. I'm doing it with the big piece, it's very hard. I wasn't able to actually manage to do it in one piece, so I did it in seams. So there's one piece on the bottom, one piece on the top, and then a piece on each side. And you can see there's one seam there and one seam down here. That's it. So there's one seam on each side, top and bottom. Let's get around to the fun side over here. You know, you want to look at the corners here. They're holding up pretty nice. Let's get over here. Around the hinges. So around all these hinges, pretty much every single, so someone left me a dent there. I don't know when that happened. Around all these hinges, yes, every single one of them is bubbling, okay? Nature of the beast. I don't know why, but we'll find out when we remove the wrap. It could be adhesive separation or I didn't post heat enough. I plastidded these parts and I got these parts powder coated on the entire vehicle. And I ordered the bolts in raw aluminum, just left them raw aluminum. I like them unpainted actually, just like that. Looks cool. Over here, I missed a spot. This is my own doing. Now would I leave this on a customer's car? Hell no. But I would just rewrap the door because the door is actually pretty easy to wrap. I miscut it a little short and then when I went to stretch it in, it tore and it left that little tiny bit of red there. So be it, it's my own car. I don't think anyone's really noticing it too much, but all up here and stuff like that, it does look pretty good. So to show you, there's a seam right here all the way down. So I did the piece in behind here first, and then I did this piece afterwards. I'm in behind the bed a bit I left this satin black down on the back here. You're gonna see some red right there because I take my top off a lot and it hits it all the time, so that's my own fault. Here I cheated. I didn't even wrap the inside here. These are actually paintable fenders, so they're smoother plastic than the front ones. Still, the energy level is lower than it would be if it was a painted finish, but the film did it here. These fenders are 2 pieces. There's one here and one here, so there's a seam that runs all the way down, all the way to the other end on both sides. Down here, oh my God, we got some overstretching. This little wrinkle right there, you can see it? I'll put my finger there. Right there, that's overstretching. I'm not really sure how I did it. I guess I just overstretched it a little bit too much to the edge. Again, we're talking a little bit lower adhesion on this type of plastic, so the film isn't bonding quite as well as it should be, but it did manage to turn out pretty good for the most part all the way through the truck. So then that's a sign of overstretching. Over here, this is a sign of me not doing my cut and fold as nice as I could. So you can see the cut and folds, they're not all that pretty. I should have rolled the film around a little bit more and done the cut and fold more on the back side of these edges. You know, it's a little bit too far out on the top side right now. That's the main reason why. So I understand why and why things are happening, what's going on. I missed a little bit of tiny red in there. I actually just noticed that. I've never seen that until now. A seam is done right there where I do a splice right through the light and I pull the top section around because it's very hard to stretch this chrome, and then I pulled the bottom section around, and then I did a seam right there where they meet. It makes it a lot easier, trust me. Down in here, I left it satin black. It was red, but I didn't even wrap it in chrome. For the most part, this is all holding up pretty good. There's no bubbling out of this recess. I did right now just notice a bubble right there, and that's in a recess too. So again, we could be talking about adhesive separation, lack of prep, or not enough post heat. There's different things that are involved when it comes to this. So same deal on this side, guys. My top corners here not done as nicely as I would have liked to have done them. And same thing down here, we have the seam, exactly the same. Symmetry is very important. We can see a tiny bit of red under here. I just noticed that too, teeny tiny. So if we really want to look for stuff, we can find stuff. I'll point it all out to you guys. I got nothing to hide. Over here, cut and folds. I should show you the other side too. Cut and fold on the very corner. Not the nicest. It's not bad, but it's not the nicest. Again, most people wouldn't even notice. Right here, the film is tucked underneath this plastic piece. And so this plastic piece is vibrating, which is pushing that film back slightly right there. Very common on some tight areas of the vehicles, around window trims, that sort of thing, doors, rear quarter windows, anywhere where the film is very tightly tucked in, that can happen. The tunnel cover, wind hits it a lot, it vibrates, it's attached to this plastic thing. Again, it all starts moving, and the actual bed itself is solid, so it doesn't really move, and so you get vibration, and that's what happens. Again, over here, seam on this side, exactly the same thing. I have a nick up here from taking it off-roading, tree branch or something. The car was just washed. So again, all around these hinges, still bubbles, okay? I tried correcting it. I even missed my cut slightly. See the red? Teeny tiny bit. Again, I'd have to rewrap the door if I was doing this for a customer. So teeny tiny bit, again, bubbling still. The door handles, even the door handles, a little bit of lifting in there. This is very thick material, so it's very hard to use. It's very sticky as well. So again, bubbling in here, right there. Very common on all four. Same deal here. Where's it lifting? Very common, side to side, it's very symmetrical. This is plasti-dipped, tree branches have hit it, stuff like that, so it doesn't look as pretty as it did when I did it. Again, look how terrible that looks right there. All right, I should just cut that out actually, it looks really terrible. I'm getting ready to rewrap the car, so whatever. I'm just waiting for the new material to come in. As you guys see, it's pretty cool. For the most part, I mean, corners and stuff holding up pretty nicely. I took a little bit of extra care when I was doing them. You know, again, this is more of a rush job. You know, this is destroyed here with plasti-dip. It happens, you know, it's just plasti-dip. So, you know, I did it to do a faster job on my own vehicle. This way I could complete it in a more reasonable time frame as opposed to spending an entire week wrapping this thing. The embossing seems to be holding up fine. Everything's good with that. If you guys saw it or not. My hood wrap's all good still. Nothing's lifting from the edges. There isn't really anything lifting from the edges other than that rear fender flare where I have a little bit of overstretching and it's on a plastic that's not really meant to be wrapped. But, you know, lifting, these two pieces on either side, this is extreme tension in this area. If you guys only knew how much this was stretched into this area, it's crazy. I'm surprised it's holding as well as it is. What I should have done is I should have two pieces. I should have done a seam. I just didn't want to do a seam. I wanted to try it and I want to see how it would work out. Here, tree branches and stuff like that have hit it pretty aggressively. So again, same thing, seams here, top and bottom. Symmetry is very important when you're doing seams. That's the one thing I can tell you. So if you don't do seams symmetrically, it makes the wrap look a lot worse than it actually could. So we're about 4 feet back right now, just to give you kind of a perspective on what this looks like from a few feet back, where most people would sort of see it or look at it, you know, driving by it or whatever. I mean, anyone who wants to look at anything up close, you're going to find an imperfection. I'm going to find an imperfection in everything. Check out this BMW. Look at all the overspray in the paint. It's actually terrible. It's so terrible. Thank God my wrap doesn't have that kind of debris in it. I would never accept that ever. I would never let that leave the shop. So anyways, that's not my business. But just to show you. All right guys, and that's a full walk around of my Jeep truck thing, wrapped in Hexus titanium chrome. If I had taken maybe a little extra care, some of the areas could have been done a little nicer. Again, some of the areas I have no control over, like the delamination on the front end, the lifting on those little side cowl pieces. Yeah, I could have probably avoided that if I just removed the wrap and then wrapped over the actual paint. It might not have lifted like that. Maybe it just needed some more post heating. I don't know. I did post heat it, but it doesn't seem to want to stay. And around the door hinges, again, we won't know until we remove the wrap. When I remove the wrap, I'll do a video on it to show you what happens. Maybe it's just my own fault. Again, I'm totally capable of accepting responsibility when it comes to failing of my own vehicles or wraps. And this is what happens. So in the end, this is what I want you guys to know. No matter how good a shop says they are, or how good an installer says they are, or how much they want to float their own boat or toot their own horn, nobody is perfect, okay? You know, anyone who ever got to a certain point as far as good quality goes, they had to go through a process, okay? They had to go through steps to get there. You know, to think that their wraps were even turning out anywhere close to this in the beginning, or yours might, it's almost impossible unless you just have a natural ability for it, okay? You're not gonna walk out of 3M training, my training, Avery training, Hexus training, or any training for that matter, and being able to even wrap like that, okay? You know, that might not be the best wrap there is, because again, it's my own vehicle, but you won't be able to just walk out of a shop out of any training and just be able to wrap a car in chrome just like that, okay? This takes experience, practice, and perseverance in the end, determination to actually do a good job and do better. You know, no matter, like I said, no matter how good these guys are and how much they're tooting their own horn about how great their wraps are and how close the pictures are and all this and that, you know, they're showing you maybe the good sides. You know, I'll show you the good sides too, but I also want to show you the bad sides. I want to show you what happens even with my wraps. You know, it's super minor stuff, and I've been around this stuff for a very long time to know, you know, the severity of what has happened on my Jeep and, you know, how it could be fixed. What the idea here is to learn how to fix it, okay? Making mistakes like this, it's gonna happen on your customer's car or your own car. You try to learn on your own car, you try to push the limit, you try to do that sort of thing, and you try to figure out and correct it. Do you have to correct it? No. Do I have to correct it at this point? No, because I actually understand what's happening to my wrap. But, you know, in order for me to understand or get to this point of understanding what happened to my wrap, I would have had to have gone through the steps on correcting these issues to figure out how to do it better. Okay, that's the idea here in the end. Guys, I do hope this video was informative and helpful for you. If it was, don't forget to give it a like. And if you guys want to see some more videos, don't forget the subscribe button. Also, don't forget about my website, ckwraps.com, for detailed videos on how to do wraps better in general. You know, I'll show you all the details, you know, point of view, that sort of thing, all the tips and the tricks along the way and everything that I've learned, personally speaking. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it very much. Take care.